Hey friends, what's up? Philip here with Points of Philip, and I'm actually here because there's a huge new bonus on, well, one of my favorite cards. So we're going to get into the Marriott Bonvoy Boundless card and why you might actually want to add it to your wallet. I'm going to have the link in the description below for that. But anyway, before we get into kind of the nuts and bolts of this card, I want to ask you guys to like and subscribe. Doing that helps me know that what I'm doing is helpful. It also helps YouTube to kind of push this out to more people. So anything help would be appreciated. Thanks so much. Now let's get into the Bonvoy Boundless card and why you might actually want to add it to your card wallet. So first of all, I've had this card for a good little bit. So almost 2 years now. Well, it's been about 2 years since I've opened it. I've done some different things with it, and we'll get into that. But I wanted to make sure I'm focusing on a boundless card. Say that 5 times fast. First. So we're going to go ahead and actually just take a look here at this bonus, and it's 125,000 points with one free night up to 50,000 points. So the reason why we like this is because it gives you the free night credit. So you can actually stay somewhere. So you can stay somewhere pretty nice, right? So 50,000 points, you can actually top it up to 55,000 points and actually do pretty well for yourself. And we'll get into that in a second. But I also want to talk about the fact that it's 125,000 bonus points. So 125,000 bonus points is important because, first of all, those points don't expire. And so, those free nights, they expire 1 year from when you actually earn it. So that can kind of limit. So let's say if you're traveling in 2 years, right? You may not want to get a card that only earns free night awards for your sign up bonus. So you have something that you can do for like maybe even staycation, or if you're traveling to a big city in the next couple months, you can use that free night award pretty well, and we can get into that. But then you have the 125,000 bonus points, and that's insane. Now that's after spending $3,000 in the first 3 months of account opening. So that's $1,000 per month. So if you can pull that off, this is actually a pretty easy sign up bonus to get. And so that's important to note. And so this is really nice. Now let's take a look at some other important aspects of this card. So the annual fee is $95. And so that's kind of it's really kind of accessible, right? So it's kind of a lower annual fee for a hotel card, right? They can get up there, right? My Hilton Aspire card is $550. My Ritz-Carlton card is $450. But this is $95 annual fee. But you do get some interesting benefits that will kind of really go towards actually getting you more value than that back, as long as you use it every year. And so we're going to get into that. But $95 annual fee. All right, let's get into the earnings. So now Marriott says that you can earn 17x on total points at Marriott. So this is, we're going to break it down. So you earn 6 points per dollar on any Marriott card. So the Boundless card, the Ritz-Carlton card, even the Bonvoy Brilliant only earns 6x on Marriott properties. The rest of it is broken up into kind of how much status you have, right? So it's everything is 10x back with Marriott regardless, right? But then you get an extra point for being a Silver Elite member, which this card gives you Silver Elite status. That doesn't really get you anything more than, having access to late checkout, sometimes maybe to noon or something. It's not a lot, right? It's their lower tier. It's not quite their base tier, right? Which is just member, but Silver tier doesn't really give you that much more, at least in my experience. So and then when you have like the Ritz-Carlton card, it gives you gold status, and that gives you a little bit more points. And the Bonvoy Brilliant gives you platinum status, which gives you a little bit more points. And so, it is true that the Bonvoy Brilliant gives you more per dollar than the the Bonvoy Boundless card, but most of it is not. It's not from any difference in the actual card. It's what status you have with it. So if you have the Bonvoy Boundless, but let's say you stay at Marriott's a lot for work and you already have a platinum status, then you're not going to earn any more by getting a higher tiered card, if that makes sense. All right. So the also have kind of a weird multiplier, and that's 3 points per dollar on the first 6,000 per year spent and combined annually on grocery stores, gas stations, and dining. And so it's only works for $3,000 or $6,000 each year, and your sign-up bonus is $3,000. So if you're spending in those categories, you won't be spending on it too much more than that. in order to actually get kind of higher multipliers. And so, but you do earn 3 points per dollar on grocery stores, gas stations, and dining, which are pretty significant categories. So, as a $95 entry level card, it's not bad. It's not offensive. It is kind of weird that they have that combined category $6,000 cap. But when you get into the rest of what you get, it's not terrible, right? Now, 2 points per dollar on everything else. Again, that's pretty standard for most Marriott cards. My Ritz-Carlton gets me 2x on everything. The Bonvoy Brilliant also does that, right? So this is kind of the way that Marriott kind of does their multipliers. Now, the thing that you get with this card is you get a free night award after your first card member anniversary. And so you recall with this sign up bonus, you get that free night award for 50,000 points. You can top it up to 55,000. But this free night award is for 35,000 points. Now, that one's a little bit harder to deal with. I was able to use it. So, my wife and I, we stayed at the AC Hotel in downtown Huntsville, and we were actually upgraded to a room that had an incredible view. It was a great room. We did have to move because of a AC issue, but it was fine. And so we got that for free, which saved me about, I think it was like $275. So $275 for that free night award. And, I didn't have to, and so I definitely got that value back for that $95 annual fee. And so, but it is after your first card member anniversary. So you don't get that when you first, the 35,000 point free night. You don't get that when you first open the card. You get it after you've held the car for a year. All right. Then, of course, you can earn more status. So each of these cards gets you 15 Elite Night credits, and that can go towards earning higher status with Marriott. And so if you do stay, like, that just reduces how many times you have to stay in order to get that, right? So that's kind of the big deal. Now, some other things important to note: it's a Visa signature card from Chase, and so you have some certain travel protections, you have some certain rental car protections, and no foreign transaction fees. So it's a Visa with no foreign transaction fees, which means if you don't have any transferable currency cards, this isn't a bad travel card, right? No foreign transaction fees. It's a Visa card. You can just use it wherever and earn poorly, but you're still earning on those purchases. So that's nice. Now, they do say spend instantly on their things. So they advertise that if you apply for the card, you can use it on the same day. So you can add it to Apple Pay, Google Pay, or Samsung Pay, and you can spend instantly. So that is something that Chase calls out specifically on this card. And I wasn't able to actually use this because they when I applied for this card, they wanted to verify my address, so it took a couple of weeks of production, but I was able ultimately to get this particular card. So anyway, why do we care about this card? So the reason why I care about this card is because, well, I love the Ritz-Carlton card. So the Ritz-Carlton card is a Marriott card, and I've been talking about it a little bit on this video. Now, you can't apply for it directly, and so that's where the Bonvoy Boundless card from Chase kicks in. And so this card has a $95 annual fee. It regularly has pretty good sign-up bonuses. This one, in my opinion, is a pretty decent one. In order to be able to product change to this, you can only product change to the Ritz-Carlton card. You have to hold another Chase credit card, a Chase Bonvoy credit card, right? So the Boundless card is what I select because it seems to have a sweet spot of benefits to annual fee to sign-up bonuses, right? So you have to hold this card for 1 year. So you have to be able to hold it for 1 year, and then essentially after that first year, you can you call Chase up and product change to the Ritz-Carlton card. Now, some important caveats to note with that. So when you call up Chase, you can also secure message them in the app as well. But when you reach out to them, you want to make sure that you have at least $10,000 of credit limit either on this card or available with Chase. So I had a $9,000 credit limit on this card, so I just had to transfer a $1,000 credit limit for my Amazon Prime Visa card to this card, and then I was able to transfer to the Ritz-Carlton card. So some important things to note. So if you transfer, make the product change before your annual free night posts, so the 35,000 point free night award posts to your Marriott account, and you convert that card first, I have heard data points on Reddit that says that you can get that 85,000 point free night award once you actually, so for your Bonvoy Boundless card member anniversary. So the first year you hold the Ritz-Carlton, it's possible to get that 85,000 point free night. Now, there are no guarantees. Your mileage may vary, but I've heard some people say that that's possible. Now, what I did was I waited for the annual fee to post and for my Boundless annual free night award to post before I made the change. That way, I at least knew that I had that locked in. So I kind of took the coward's way out. But if you're a little bit more of interest than I am, you can try for the 85,000 point free night award. But at the very least, you'll get the 35,000 points. Now, another caveat with this is I've heard from some people say that you have to make this transition in the beginning part of the year, so January or February. I made this card change on January. And so the reason why that might be a consideration is because that's when Marriott changes over kind of the status, right? So if you want to make sure that you have the gold status, I've heard from some people say that you actually have to make sure that you transfer it before Marriott refreshes that, or else you don't get those elite status benefits for the first year. I don't know how accurate that is because mine transferred over perfectly, but then again, I did it during that January window. So again, if you have any data points please leave them in the comments below. Let me know what's going on. Let others know what's going on. But anyway, so that is an important consideration. Now, why would you want to product change this card, right? So this card is a Visa Infinite card, which means it has insane travel protections, but it also has a lot of key superpowers that we can talk about. So first of all, it has an annual fee of $450. Now, there is a credit that we can talk about in a minute, but let's get to the multipliers first. So this one earns 6x on Marriott purchases, again, like every Marriott card, but you earn 3 points per dollar at restaurants, car rentals, and airfare booked directly with an airline. So this is really solid because I use this for hotels and I can use this for airfare, and I do use this regularly for car rentals because it has primary CDW. And so this card actually has really strong travel protections that I actually really love using. This is why this is actually always in my wallet, because I'm never sure when I'm actually going to make a booking. And so this card stays in my wallet. It doesn't hurt that it's actually my prettiest looking card either. Now, you also get 2 points per dollar on everything else. And so, again, that's pretty standard for Marriott credit cards. Now, let's get into the reasons why you have this card. So, first of all, this gives you priority pass, right? But it's a good priority pass. So this one gets you, first of all, access to the priority pass that has the minute suites access, the express spa access, right? It doesn't give you the restaurants with priority pass, but very few cards do nowadays. So I really wouldn't count it as a negative, but just something to be aware of. Now, here's the kicker. No annual fee for authorized users on the Ritz-Carlton card. And I believe it's actually officially up to 99 authorized users you can add to this card. They can each get their own priority pass for free. So if you want to gift a priority pass status to friends and family, probably close friends, right? You can do that, and they have access to priority pass. And so that's huge. Now, another thing this has access to is the Chase Sapphire lounges. So my wife and I, over the summer, we stayed at the Philadelphia Sapphire Lounge, and it was incredible. Now, when I walked in, the only thing I had to show them was my card. And I got my wife and I in. A friend of mine actually used their Chase Sapphire Reserve to get a bunch of friends. I think it was like 7 or 8 into the Sapphire Lounge. And so it seems like the guest policy is currently pretty open for the Sapphire Lounges. The guest policy is also pretty open for the Priority Pass lounges. But again, like, that doesn't mean that the actual property will allow you to have unlimited guests. It just means that on at least Chase's side, they're willing to pay for that, right? Does that make sense? Okay. Now, in addition to that, you get a $300 annual airline credit. So this is supposed to be for airline fees. So like checked baggage fees, in-flight Wi-Fi, seat upgrades, and lounge access. So this is not an automatic credit. You have to call the number on the back of this card, right? But the number on the back of this card is actually to the JP Morgan private customer service line, which means, so every time you call this phone number, right? I have never heard it go more than 2 rings, and you're not ringing to a phone tree. You're ringing directly to someone. You make this phone call with this number on the back of this card, you're getting in contact with someone at Chase, usually a supervisor, very quickly, right? And so you can talk to them very quickly, very easy to use. Now you have the $300 airline travel credit, right? So this one but it's kind of open on the back end. So Chase also, the Chase Sapphire Reserve has that open $300 travel credit. And so sometimes they can get a little confused and, well, they can do more than just airline fees. And so I've heard some people say that they've had rental cars, hotels, things like that covered with this credit. And so your mileage may vary. They may close up that loophole, but currently it seems like it's pretty wide open. And all you have to do is call them. And it was honestly a 5-minute conversation. Of course, I actually use it for taxes and fees for a Virgin Atlantic upper class booking that I made. And so, like, there wasn't any problem. There wasn't ever going to be any problem. But they said it was going to take a couple business days to actually reflect on my account. It posted the next day, that credit. And so that was nice. Now, in addition to that, you also get global entry credit. So that's for every single authorized user, which is solid. And then you also get a free night award. And so this is an 85,000 point free night award. And so that's top uppable to another 15,000 points, which is really solid. And so that's, important to note. So anyway, so this is a really, really great card. So it also has, again, primary rental car insurance, lost luggage reimbursement, trip delay reimbursement, baggage delay insurance. It's a solid card. And then the icing on the cake here is that this card gets you Marriott Gold Elite status, which it doesn't get you free food, but what it does do is it gets you access to, things like early check-in, possibly late checkout up to 2 o'clock. Again, depending on the property, things like that. So you can get some nice little benefits, but it's not going to break the bank as far as like monetary value, right? Like the Hilton food and beverage credits or something like that. So that's important to note. Anyway, thanks again for joining me. There is a link below in the description if you would like to use that for a referral link for the Marriott card. I really appreciate that. But anyway, thanks again for joining me again, and I can't wait to see you guys until next time. Bye.